most of us aren't even clear about what type of AI we are trying to adopt. All right, hello everyone. This is Glen, Guyton, keynote speaker, futurist, and happy Texan. I hope y'all doing great today. Today I want to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. Everybody's talking about AI, right? I just got back from a conference where I was talking about AI. And my focus is always how do you integrate AI and stay on top of the human factor. How do we integrate this technology into our workplaces? I don't care what kind of AI you want to adopt, and most of us aren't even clear about what type of AI we are trying to adopt. Most of us are just thinking about this generative AI, the AI that can kind of just create stuff and that performs some limited logic, right? So ChatGPT is what we're talking about. We're not talking about smart toasters. That's a form of artificial intelligence. But we're thinking about this generative AI mostly. But there are a lot of artificial intelligence tools out there. AI has been around for years. As you think about the concepts of AI, learning how to play games, some of these things started back in the 1950s. IBM had Big Blue. I think that was the 80s AI. Big Blue, that was artificial intelligence, playing games. So we can teach AI how to play games. It can learn through repetition. It's starting to play around with logic. It can answer questions. It can replicate us. So AI does a lot. And so everybody is fascinated now about AI. How do we use AI? We can use it in digital programs, help us create pictures, a lot of things it can do. It can help us drive our cars. AI can do a ton of things, but how do we incorporate it into our workplaces? And what does it mean for people like you and I? Is AI coming to take your job? Maybe it is. I doubt it. If you're good at what you do, can you be replaced? Some of your tasks can be replaced, but I don't think AI has gotten to the place where it can fully replace us. Now you're saying, Glenn, what about the robots that are building cars? Okay, yeah, there are some limited things that AI can do, but you still need people to supervise the robots. You still need people to program it. So again, we're talking about shifting skills, not just eliminating people wholeheartedly. So we will have to change. We'll have to change our skills, all that kind of stuff. Even as you think about the horse and buggy industry. At one point, the horse and buggy industry was thriving, right? Everybody had a horse. Most people had horses, right? You had to have a horse to get around. And so there was a whole industry dedicated to shoeing horses. Now, there are still a few horse farriers out there because I watch them when I go to bed at night. That's my nighttime YouTube thing that I do, is watch people shoe horses. But for the most part, we have mechanics now, right? So we're not fixing cars anymore. We're not fixing horses anymore. We're fixing cars. So industry has shifted. But again, when one industry goes away, another industry emerges. So part of what we have to do is start to think strategically about what happens. The transportation industry did not go away when automobiles came. It shifted. So I want you to think about that when you start to think about AI replacing our jobs. Yes, it will replace certain skills, but it doesn't mean that those industries will just totally go away. And sometimes there's still a niche, right? We still need people to take care of horses, and we still need people to take care of cars. So things will shift. So just thinking about artificial intelligence and what we need to do as leaders in the workplace. First of all, you have to think strategically. Anytime you implement something new in the workplace, so whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's new paperwork process, I remember when, I'm not that old. I mean, I guess I'm getting older now, but I remember when we shifted from, typewriters to, personal computers, right? That was a shift in the workplace. I don't know of any typewriters in the workplace now. Some organizations may still have one or two, but it was a shift. Was that hard for people? Yeah, it was hard for people. I remember when we went from localized phone systems where, we had to have a phone line for every, person that's on a conference call. Now we have these virtual lines, right? So I'm going through a tunnel now. So we have to shift and adapt. But all of these things required new training, information for the workers. It was a change. So when we think about AI, we're simply managing change. How are we going to effectively manage change in the workplace? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Thinking about new technology, why are you adopting it? Is there a strategic reason for you to adopt the new technology or for you to not adopt the new technology? And who are you asking? Have you talked to your workers? Have you talked to your clients? I know a lot of people are rushing to adopt chatbots, right? Oh, we're going to put a chatbot on our website. It's going to improve our customer service. People are going to be able to just ask questions on the computer screen, and it'll save us, time and money, and it'll speed up the efficiency of communicating with our customers. You know what I've heard from a lot of customers? They hate the fact that they can no longer speak to a human being. And so the human element has been taken out of a frontline customer service function. So who's going to have the strategic advantage? Maybe it will be the workplaces where an actual human being picks up the phone. I'm not saying that you don't automate some of your customer service processes, but how do you continue to deliver excellent customer service that's in line with the mission of your organization? That's the question you have to start asking yourself now, because people are just rushing to jump on new technology. I'm using technology right now. I'm going to use AI to help me edit this video. I'm going to use AI to do some research, all of those things. But I still need to understand the role of human judgment in all of this and the human connection. We're still in the people business. We still have living, breathing customers. So what technology do we need? And where do we continue to need the human touch? That's what we have to ask ourselves in all of this. I watched a news story the other day, and it was talking about Gen Z and where they seek entertainment. You would think that this younger generation would just be all connected to doing things online, but it seems like many young people are going back to analog types of activities. They're quilting, they're doing needlepoint, they're with the stuff you do with the yarn knitting, all that kind of stuff. And you would think like they have all this fantastic technology. They have these video games, they have, Snapchat, they have Instagram, they have all these online tools, all this stuff. Why are they knitting? Why are they turning off their TV screens, their phone screens? Why are they turning this off to go to analog types of entertainment? Probably because they're overloaded. They're overloaded. Their whole lives, they've been inundated with technology. And so what's missing? The human touch. So the common belief out there is AI, artificial intelligence, is going to take over the world. Elon Musk has said it, that everything's going to be online, that AI is going to do all of our jobs, and folks are just going to sit around and I guess do nothing. We're going to just sit around and just enjoy the life of leisure as robots rule the world. And you know what? I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. We're human beings. We need touch. We need connection. We need to have a purpose. And so we can't forget this as we rush to embrace this new technology. There's a balance between the human element of it and the efficiency of it. Now, let me give you an example of it. And so, thinking as a futurist, what are some signals, weak signals out there that have me thinking this way? Think about the movie The Matrix. How much more on point is that movie about what happens when we get to the place where we just are 100% dependent on technology? It's not a good place. We rebel. It is not who we are as human beings. So I think that movie, The Matrix, could be a somewhat of a prophetic forewarning movie for us. I believe The Matrix is more possible than what we see in like a movie like Terminator. I don't think like we're going to become, self-aware and travel back in time, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to come back as the T-1000 or whatever. I think it's more likely that we will resist the urge to over-automate, and I think that's the warning I want to share with you now. When do we have too much automation? We want to make sure as we automate that we are not replacing human judgment. We need to figure out what task do we need to farm out to artificial intelligence or some type of automated system, and what tasks need to remain uniquely human. And part of it is we can't replace human judgment with a machine. We cannot. I don't believe we'll ever get to that place where the machines just take over and they can think better than we do as humans. Can they think faster? Yes, they can think faster. Can they do mundane tasks, repetitive tasks better than us? Yes, they can. And so we need to think of a strategic reason of why we are adding or not adding technology. And then we have to figure out, well, how do we prepare our people, right? What's the rollout for this? What training do people need? Again, if you are shifting from riding horses to driving cars, that's a different skill set. I'm from Texas. I think I could do okay on a horse, but I really don't know how to ride a horse other than those horses they have. Like, for people that don't know how to ride horses, like I couldn't like ride a wild Mustang or break a horse. I'm not a cowboy, right? I can drive a car. Pretty well. I can drive a motorcycle. Drive a motorcycle really well, but I would have to learn how to go backwards and ride a horse. So if we're upskilling, reskilling, that needs to be a part of your strategy. You can't just roll out some new AI without figuring out the new skills that are needed for the people that are going to have to use this technology. And you need to know how it's going to integrate with other systems that you have, right? You may have some really advanced systems, and then you can have some really dumb systems or systems that are outdated. How are you going to make all this stuff work real time? So many times we don't have an implementation strategy. We just want to jump on the latest and greatest. There are hundreds, thousands of tools out there that you can use and incorporate, but what's the right tool for you? Those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. But I'm out here in nature enjoying a walk, getting away from the technology, but I want to share my thoughts on AI with you. So my name is Glen Guyton. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful